Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pump Podcast. Pump stands for Prepare Ultimate Mental Performance. I am your host, Brady Harrington. And before we get things kickstarted with the next episode, would like to announce that the Pump Podcast is officially partnered with HydroStick. Things are heating up this summer, and HydroStick needs to be your go-to electrolyte drink mix option. Not only do they have zero sugars in their mix, but also extremely competitive prices compared to the other leading brands. So sign up now online through email, or also tune into every Pump Podcast episode for exclusive discount offers. After this episode is over, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns about the episode or anything to do with the Pump Podcast, please email us at harringtonpump@gmail.com, or also on our socials, pump_pod for our Instagram and X page. And you can also tune in for full episodes on YouTube or Spotify. I really appreciate everyone taking the time to listen to this episode, and hope to stay tuned. Thanks. We are back in the Pump Podcast. It's been a long 2 months. A lot coming going forward, but this is the first official episode of season 2. Thank you to everyone who's showed support so far already and guys that have hopped on. But we got a lot more work to do. A lot more. Right. I got to start off with my guy, Jimmy Gray. Jimmy, thanks for hopping on, man. How you doing?
What's up, man? Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I knew diving back into things, especially right after the finals. Good to talk to a hooper like yourself, man.
Yeah, we got a lot of basketball to cover.
Yeah, we got some catching up to do, man. Just anyone who knows a little bit or doesn't know too much about Jimmy. Jimmy came out of Binghamton area, another great 607 guy that I'm very appreciative to talk with. 2009 to 13, played at Binghamton University, and also a local product playing at Binghamton High School.
Yeah.
And, a big thing I want to start with before we got to talk some hoops. Just knowing you for a while now, I know you're a great mind to pick your brain off of. But give me your overview a little bit of just the NBA playoffs, man. What I know we started chatting a little bit about it, but just from start to finish, where do you think the league's at now with all this, and how do you feel about everything?
The league's it's in great hands. There's a lot of young dudes that are taking the lead on their team. You got guys like Anthony Edwards, Shea. You got Tyrese, you got Jalen Brunson. He's ridiculous, right? But, as far as the playoffs goes, I think it was beyond entertaining, right? Guys were playing hard, big shots, big game, big shots. I think that statement in and of itself was literally the caption for the entire playoffs, right? Big names were hitting big shots.
Yeah, no, and you get used to it, but then you look back on it after it happened, you're like, this is abnormal. You don't like this. It happens a little bit in the playoffs, but these are walking highlight tapes left and right, and memories from it. And I think what you mentioned, where the league's at with the young guys. Do you think, because I know it's getting pretty sad, but we're starting to slowly, the guys growing up watching the KDs, the LeBrons, the Currys, they're on their
right.
way. Do you think we're in a better position compared to when Cole, KG, Timmy D, all those guys were on their way out? Do you
I won't necessarily say we're in a better position. I just think the game keeps changing, right? The evolution of the game is remarkable, right? So you got the 90s gritty defense. Guys are talented, skill level, development, playing their behinds off, right? 2000s, guys getting more crafty, more shifty, athletic, shoot the ball much further. The 2010s, right? You coming in with the Currys and players like Jason Tatum, and the game just gonna keep evolutionizing, right? So I don't think we're necessarily in a better position. I just think we just need to continue to appreciate what we have in front of us, right? The sadness of LeBron leaving or retiring or Kobe not playing anymore is obviously my biggest thing, right? It's once you see some of these guys that you follow and you not necessarily mimic their game, but respect their game and pay attention, going home just to watch their games, you're not gonna be. You got to look at a new player or someone that you're starting to take interest in. So I'm excited because these guys are extremely talented. Some of them are purely athletic, but they just have the gift. And if some of them can keep their head on straight and just take it a little bit more, I don't know, not necessarily serious, want to attain a certain level of greatness, then I think we'll be in good hands.
Yeah, because I just with that, and I agree with that, the back end of the statement you mentioned, because a lot of these dudes already got it. I mean, they're already in a good position, and even like some of these teams, they have it. It's just, I mean, you even see too, like with the Pacers, like they just got they're a good team, but they got hot at the right time as well. And like
Yeah.
a lot of playoffs in any sports, that's just kind of what the fact of the matter is. It's like if
Right.
you play your best stuff at the right time, they showed that, and they have phenomenal coaching too.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it all just came together, man. Like they weren't scared of nothing. They had that nothing
Mm-hmm.
mentality. So yeah, I think going. What do you think these next couple of years going forward? I know people start already doing the early OKC legacy talks, and I see the flag back here. I'm an OKC fan, but
Yeah. I
what like
mean,
we got the draft coming up too, just like that as well. Like
that
what's
that's big, right? A lot of trades, a lot of changes.
yeah? I just saw the new trade too with CJ McCollum.
Exactly,
CJ
right?
McCollum's out too, and now well he's going to the Wizards, and they got Jordan Poole. So teams are getting active just like that. And you got Simons going to the Celtics. It's like
Right.
oh
KD going to the Rockets. You got, what I'm saying, Jalen to the Suns. There's so much movement going on right now. I think, moving forward, I think the biggest thing in what we saw this year the most was injury, right? Of not just people that are role players or make a difference, but superstars, right? And not only does that take a lot of the momentum out of the game, but it's hard to see, and it's hard to kind of gauge who's going to be the top dog next year, right? Like I think OKC stays healthy, they're always going to be in that spotlight, right? They got momentum, they're confident, the guys are going to enjoy this win and figure out how to get another piece to just keep them grounded and just take them up another level. The teams where that have been broken due to injuries, they have to reconstruct. Or new guys coming in like Cooper Flag, where does he fit? You know what I'm saying? If he's on the Mavs, how is he going with Anthony Davis? They're the same player.
yeah him and Kai man that could yeah
There's just a lot of, and this is it, right? Anthony Edwards, he should be in the finals, considering how good he is and the team he has. But individually, yes, they're a very talented team, but collectively, they didn't look good.
yeah
So
yeah OKC
they
and
got
five
a lot of teams got to figure it out.
yeah that's what I was worried about the most is like all right the Nuggets were ahead of OKC took them to 7. I'm like damn now they got the T Wolves like this might be
Right.
triple all over again and boom like they just yeah do you have any surprise teams these next say like 2 years? I know injuries one big thing, but any team that people might be overlooking right now, be like, hey, don't forget about these dudes.
To be honest, I really think that the Magic are up and coming. I really like Paulo.
Did you like that trade?
Huh?
Did you like that trade for the 5 draft picks with Desmond Bain? I
It's
mean,
a,
I think if it's a team,
I think it's good for. I think it works for them.
yeah,
They need somebody that's a good shooter.
yeah, they did.
That's just moving around,
Ross
shooting.
and Paulo, they don't really, they don't shoot
No,
at that
they
high rate.
create, they dominate. The thing they're missing is a point guard, like a true point guard, one that can run the show.
Yeah,
Now I'm not saying that he's like the person that I'm saying more like a Rondo, or a Drew Holiday, a mesh guy, like a guy who can facilitate, knock it down, and play defense.
yeah.
Right?
Maybe the Blazers will buy him out, and Orlando will get Drew Holiday. 'Cause that's a serious stat. That's a yeah,
Yeah, I mean that they are a really good team.
yeah.
I think that they need a little bit more experience. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And of course I got to throw my Lakers in there. Man, we back
Yeah, come
we're
on
not
now.
going nowhere.
Come on now. Yeah, it takes
Luca's
a
in the
little time.
lab.
Yeah, no, they're gonna get now they got, most of the season under their belt. Get some
I
off
did
season
see
work in.
something about Bam. I don't know. I did see something if we get Bam, Lakers are in talks of contenders. I'm just saying.
because he's probably not too happy because they were expecting Kevin Durant. I know the Heat,
Yeah,
like just seeing some stuff like now, like what are they going to do? No Jimmy now? Are they reconstructing
yeah.
it?
They
You
didn't
got
want to give
like the
up
Heat got
their.
good
They
young
didn't.
pieces. Do they like stay young and get rid of Bam and get a couple more picks, a couple more young dudes? Okay, yeah, no, the Lakers aren't going to go out quietly, man. They're gonna figure something out. Who's we'll get to business after this one. Who do you like the most? Besides let's say the top three picks in the draft, do you have anyone that you like a lot that is coming out of college that you're like, okay, this dude could be, you know, I like where he's at.
I'm gonna keep it real funky. I haven't kept up so much with college this year.
College, NBA, I think, yeah, like,
I started watching, paying attention a little bit more, obviously during March Madness.
yeah.
But I'm trying to think
Well, I mean,
who's
I
who.
think like with the NBA too this year and the other playoffs, like March Madness didn't have too much fireworks compared to normal. And then now you got the
Hmm.
NBA, which I think the common fan, just of basketball in general, they probably shifted towards the NBA this year. That's what I'm feeling.
Nah, the boy out of Florida really he already has a pro development game. Like you could tell by his pace, his decision making. Like he plays within his game, right? If he's open, takes the shot. If he sees opportunity, takes advantage of it.
Yeah,
And I saw him work out in the combine, just like you could tell he's a pro. You
yeah.
know.
I remember seeing him. I saw him live when he was at Iona.
Mm.
They
Right.
were they were playing in Albany, and when they played UConn during their championship run, it got scary. It wasn't there were some bumps in the road before the championship, soon to be championship winning UConn beat Iona in Albany.
Right.
All of a sudden, I'm like, who's this Walter Clayton Jr. dude? And he like, the same thing. Like there was bits and pieces of it, and he developed that after a year or two.
Right.
But like that quick release, the dribble moves behind the line. It's like, okay, like this guy,
Yeah.
they're not
And
messing around. Good.
he's not shy. He's not shy from the moment. You see that right away when he starts to get in his groove, like all good players do. Right when you get into your groove, you get more aggressive. You start to rally and make big plays and big shots.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So now I'm excited. I'm excited. I think, like you said, it's in a good place. There's a lot more to come, and there's going
Hmm.
to be some more off-season moves coming up, and then the draft coming up too. It's going to be fun, man. So good, man. Now I'm excited to chop it up a little bit about that before we dove into things. But so I think first things first, I want to get into. So you with your training program, Be Great training. Can
Yep.
you give me a little overview, rundown about the inspiration of it, how it got started, what your whole like purposes of it, everything like that.
So yeah, be great training, right? Just playing a little wordplay on the last name, kind
Yes.
of. That's yep. Because Jimmy Gray, right? And the saying like, do you want to be great? What's your legacy? Kind of like pushing that. My slogan is never good, forever great, and it derives from just my grind and my hustle, pushing not only myself but others that are around me. And the biggest thing, and we'll take a much deeper dive once we get into my route or my journey. But obviously, I'm not in the NBA or in the G League right now, so I've been able to stay close to the game by training athletes, people who are just passionate about basketball. Also, right now, currently working with the WNBA, the Liberty team, right, as a practice player, so I can start to tap in a little bit more with pros at the next level, kind of working with them for development. But
Yeah.
the goal is to just be in that space where I get to help people who have the same passion as I do get to the next level, and then see it become full circle, right? See them achieve their greatest dream or something even higher.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said never good, forever great. Okay, that's probably gonna be the title of this episode. I'm
Never
already.
good, forever great.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, and that is like, especially like obviously your passion for basketball. It's a perfect way to keep rolling with that. When you do like with the Liberty, like, diving into the practices a little bit, because that's like a whole nother for you personally too, like going from your whole career, like that's a whole nother mindset you got to dive into of just
Yeah, absolutely.
what do you when you head into those practices, what's your like when you're preparing and you're ready to hop on the court, like what's your what's your job? Like, do you like when you're about to play? Like, is there something like that kind of changes with your game that you want to kind of like serve your role really for the team of being
Yeah.
president?
So
Like, how's that
yeah,
go?
I'll give you a little bit of detail before I dive into that. Like, I got an opportunity just being in the space here at Lifetime, right? Because that's where I work at. I'm down in Brooklyn, and I got an opportunity to go there. You try out, and they give you an evaluation assessment. Okay, we think this, he's a good player. He understands. He's coachable. He can listen to instructions, pick up on things very fast, and that's ultimately that's what it is, right? I'm a practice player. I'm designed to help them scout and get better, right? So there's somebody in place that does the scouting off the film. We could do it ourselves, obviously, and kind of
Yeah,
like pull some of the players to the side. But as my coaching and my trainer kind of personality starts to step into that space. I start to develop relationships with the girls on the team, the coaches, and this is my first year doing it. So it's very fresh. But just to dive into the question that you asked, for me, it is much different because I'm such a competitor. Our number one thing there is safety because they're professionals, and
mm-hmm.
you got to gauge when you're playing defense and offense, like proper basketball movement.
Let them land, bro. Let them land.
Contest the shot, but don't block it. You
And
know what I'm
that's
saying?
like the scariest thing I always thought of like when I see these dudes like working with Bron or like working with Jimmy, like in the city and everything, like they're contesting the shots, helping them. Like, bro, you better not stick that foot out, man, because you're not ever coming back.
Nah, yeah, but I mean, to a degree, like yes, and also, there's always gonna be mishaps, right? There's always gonna be like, my bad, I didn't mean to screen you that hard or stick my knee out or elbow or whatever.
Okay.
Ultimately, we want them to get better, and to be honest, they play physical.
Yeah, man.
These
Oh yeah, they're
these
killers, man. They're
they this
yeah,
team is straight killers.
yeah.
Like they
There's a
can
reason where
hoop, they
they're at
play
right now.
aggressive, they're
Yeah,
smart, they move the ball. Like this is basketball at a very high, if
very.
not the highest level. And they have pieces that understand the game, can go for 20, 30, could put the ball on the ground, could play defense full court, could put you in the post, set a good screen. Like there's no pieces or no stones unturned, right? So
Yeah.
with me being in there, I start to learn so much at the professional level, right? It's all about terminology, placement, understanding your role within that system and, timing, reads, all that. So, it's just beautiful basketball in and out.
Yes, yeah. And speaking of like our NBA talks and everything, they better start talking about the Liberty more, man, because like you hear
Yo,
the basic headlines, and I'm not hearing a whole lot about them. And let's not forget about them. Like they're
yeah,
doing
no.
like that.
There's gonna be a lot of noise, right? I think
Yeah, once these playoffs,
now
like,
that
oh
the
yeah, let's not
NBA
forget about
is
Liberty.
now that the finals and stuff is kind of like sealed and gone, you'll start to see so much traction and so much noise heading their way, right? Especially like Liberty. I mean, listen, they from like 1 through 10 can all play and start on another team. Like they're so good,
Yeah,
right? And they're so well coached and managed.
yeah, and that was right when you mentioned that. That was my first thought. Is like I know who Jimmy Gray is on the court, and every time he hops on the court, he is a killer. I'm like, does that have to like, you like? I remember like say if I hopped in practice like with my team or something, like, hey coach, it's not about you, man. Don't go out there and try to go for fucking, don't go for
Right, 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 right. I
yeah.
mean,
You
listen,
gotta.
they give me the green light,
They do. Okay, okay,
Listen, I mean, there's some rare occasions where they give me the green light,
okay.
and
I know you
I
take
got
advantage
I
of
gotta do what I
that.
gotta do.
Don't hesitate. Good, man.
Exactly.
Okay, nah, that's great, man. That's great. But yeah, so going back into the training, big that I wanted to like kind of pick your brain about and give the platform, the audience, kind of give them a feel about things is, I mean, for starters, like I'm confident about this, just knowing you and what you do and how you know the game. But and I talk about this on numerous episodes about the culture of the one-on-one trainings, how much more popular it is the past 5-10 years, and
Right,
about the the cool videos, the highlights, you name it, man. But like
right.
give me like the in your mind so far, like the do's and don'ts of like if I say for example, if I'm a college athlete, what should my plans be? Like I'm working out with Jimmy Gray this summer. What should my
Hmm.
plan be? What should I be doing and what not doing? Because like my biggest pet peeve obviously is the non. authentic moves and the stuff that like you do. And like I said, like it looks cool. Like you got the camera on you, you're doing your thing, and people are seeing
Right,
it.
right.
You're flushing it down, whatever. But like, what for you once you dive into things with these athletes, even even it's the younger ones, the older ones, whatever. Like, what's your
Yeah.
details on it?
I'm very just basic, right? So like my dues are just be fundamental and be consistent, right? Right? That in and of itself is gonna give you longevity. It's
Yes.
gonna give you attention, right? A lot of people wanted to. Well, I want to know how to do the Pinot step. I want to know how to do the bump and create space. Yes, 100%. We're gonna
Awesome.
get
But
there.
do you know how to do this first?
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Can you finish with your left hand, right? Can you do a simple crossover without somebody taking it? I want you to when I give you this read, what's the counter to it, right? Like
Yes.
understanding high level basketball development and IQ, right? There's two people that I really that had mentioned something regarding training. I actually trained with him, Steve Daggs up in Albany.
Absolutely.
He was talking about like there's only so much you can do in individual training without any live action, right? You can pound it away, you can do all these reps. The reps are good because you're going to build muscle memory, but if you don't have live action when those lights come on and you're thrown in with all these factors, then what are we training for? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
If you're not ready for that moment, if it's not realistic, right? And then Kevin Durant had mentioned, how do you get so well? He was like, I didn't really have a trainer. I just played basketball every single time I had a chance to, right? And that's
Sometimes
kind of
that's the
how
complicated formula.
that's literally the main ingredient, right? Because there's so many athletes, so many people who are strong, athletic, defensively sound, offensively sound. Like if you just put yourself in a position to go against these competitors every day, you are naturally going to get better, right? You're going to see the game from a different perspective. The game will slow down. You'll start to put yourself in a position to score, to play defense, right? Challenge yourself, guard the best player on the court, so that when the game comes, it becomes much
I've seen
easier.
this already. I've seen this
Yep.
already. Yeah, no, and that's a great point. Because like I'm a big believer as well, and you already basically touched down on this. Is that this time of the year right now, especially for hoops, now is the true time. If there's something that you're very weak on, and something that to get like even like going back to NBA, like even with J Dub, I mean they're talking about just his left hand scoop layup, and it's like even like the NBA players still got to work on stuff like this.
Yeah, 100%.
Like in your opinion, during this time of the year, what I guess is a good balance of I need to get in for a one-on-one training and work on all my weaknesses, and also making sure I get the proper amount of like playing still. Like, is there something that you think is the right way to go about it? Like,
Yeah, so I'm actually coaching a couple of kids now in high school, and they're actually in here working. You know what I'm saying? Like they're working with me. They're working out without me. Like in here getting shots up. They love the game. They love being around the game. The biggest thing is the mental part, right?
yes,
The preparation. Okay, what do you want to do? How far do you want to go with this? Like where my mindset was when I was in high school and I knew I was getting good and people were starting to pay attention and I was scoring and I was doing my thing, playing defense and eyes were on me. I just like left that out there, but also I was like, okay, I didn't even care about that at that time. I was just trying to get as good as I can get, and I was
yeah,
competitive. Like if someone scored on me, I wanted to go at them. Right? That's like the old school mentality. But I think right now it's just preparing and playing as much basketball. And what I mean by preparing is okay. How do I find the best player on the court? How do I put myself in a position to play good basketball over the summer in the off season, right? Am I in AAU circuits? Am I in showcases? Am I at camps and clinics? Am I learning? Am I soaking up as much as I can as a sponge, right? Like I remember when I was growing up, I was watching YouTube, like just learning from guys that took it to the next level, and even my peers, right? People in my graduating class. Oh, okay, this is who he works with. This is the trait. This is his balance. You know what I'm saying? He meditates. He stretches. He's putting up 100. He's making 100 shots a day. Getting into that mentality and then executing it in a game, right? Like preparation is always going to show results.
Yeah.
right? If you shoot a bunch of shots, you're probably going to be a good shooter. If you focus on handling an hour a day, you're probably going to have a pretty good bag with you, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, play as much basketball, but yes, the training aspect is always going to be necessary. Just because you sometimes you need that extra push.
You gotta fine tune a little bit. You gotta fine tune it a little bit.
Exactly. And you see what's in front of you. You don't see what's on the outside,
Yeah.
right?
And that's
You see what you're doing, but eyes are on you, seeing how you move on the court, or if you could have got a better shot or a better pass or anything like that, right? So yeah, and that's what we focus on, right? Learning the game at a different level of IQ.
yeah. No, it's that's what it's good to get ahead of that with the younger athletes too, of like how truly important it is because
Mm-hmm.
they do a lot of like any of those levels to it you just mentioned. Like even if they go out and play every day, even if they go out and take 1,000 shots a day, they still you gotta make sure that you give a little bit of everything and a blend to that. And I actually it reminded me. I remember, and we'll talk about this a little bit into the episode about your G League workouts with the Erie Bayhawks. I think it was probably when the Windy Point Open Gym days were A1. And I remember I remember asking you like, hey, like, what do just what are your takes from it? What do you learn from it? And you mentioned it seemed religious almost. You like do the footwork. And I'm like, what? He was like the footwork. Like I went there
Yeah.
and the amount of footwork, act like just everything with the footwork and what they put me through like is
Yep.
so important from obviously the agility movement everything like that but also the breakdowns of like what you need in one-on-one training.
Yep.
I was surprised at first. I'm like, so the thing you got out of it was footwork, and I'm like, well it makes sense now. Like you
Yeah.
can be, there's so many people that can shoot it at a 45% clip that can hit these shots off the dribble that can play above
Yep.
them, but what can make you stand out a little bit more? And now we're starting to see it, even dudes at the next level, like the Jokic's and everything along those lines, is that footwork is super important.
Super
So
important.
yeah, so like with that, like how as a trainer, how meticulous are you with stuff like footwork and everything in between?
I mean, it's a foundation, right? Like we talk about evolution of the game earlier, and the game's constantly changing, right? So like some of the things that we thought were travels, or you go to the next level, and they're not, right? Not only that, you prepare your body for certain movement to not only get out of certain situations, but like prepare yourself for last minute shots, last minute passes, anticipation of passes and shots, right? So footwork is super important, and definitely like when it comes to like getting it down, I'm like, we got to get this, right? Because once we get it, your body builds off of it, and you do it naturally in the game. So I try to create as much live action, and this is the thing about my training, right? Like, so I love playing defense, right? I'm a competitor, so with my clients, sometimes I hop in, and I'm like, listen, you got to score this way, and you got to use the footwork. All right, plant that foot, use your body. All right, use your momentum. Let the ball swing, take you to a shift, or you know what I'm saying. Figure it out. I gave you the pretty much the building blocks, and now how do you figure that out? Right? You just gotta get reps. Gotta get reps and then get options out of it.
Yeah, no, I think, and you said this before too, like the read and react is
Mm-hmm.
massive because if you obviously you can talk about all right, let's practice move first, and what you're doing, but another thing I just heard like from previous coaches I used to play for, just coming up to you and they're like, I already knew what move you were doing before it was even going to happen, and you probably
Exactly.
too. But you shouldn't have a move in mind. Like it's literally all about re and reacting. Like it's your job to
Yeah.
practice those moves once you know say if Jimmy's guarding me and he's really pressing my right hip, and like what move am I going to make now compared to when he's sagging off of me a little bit, like stuff like that. Yeah, the read and reaction too. Yeah, like you hopping in as well. There's no comfortability. I'm like, okay, I already know what move I'm going to make.
Exactly.
Not the reality of it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's like a thin line between that too, right? Like read and react is definitely the majority of the game because you don't know what your opponent's going to do. But in certain situations where you see the game a little slower and you can kind of like premeditate or premeditatively like make your moves or kind of like create something out of it, then by all means do so.
Yeah.
And if they can't stop it, keep going to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good point because that's like a whole nother level of mastery almost. Like when you play, that's why I like the dudes that are at a high level, like the Lucas really is that he already knows like what he's good at.
Exactly.
Go do it, and he's that good.
And to be honest, the hardest thing to guard is a pick and roll. Hardest thing. Screen action is the hardest thing to guard in the game of basketball.
What do you think? What do you think is the best way to guard a pick and roll? If you're
yes, I really like hedge and get back. So the reason why is because we talk about help so much, and if we have a team that understands like where to be and positioning and how to help the helper, then we can react in a way that they have to reset again, right? If you're going under a screen with a shooter, you're dead in the water, right? If you're chasing a really good point guard, you're dead in the water.
Put you on his head
right?
And keep going. Yep.
Yeah, like you get caught in a screen, you're dead in the water. Like the biggest thing is like you have your big man cover space, push him out, don't let him split. That's on both of you guys, obviously, but don't let him split. Push him out as far as he can, so he has to make a far pass.
Yeah. Yep.
If
the rotations are there, like if you tag the right way, you
rotate
back, and they're making the one more swings.
And not everybody's going to be comfortable handling the rock. So like you're not going to have all 5 guys that are comfortable. If they pass it to the guy that's not comfortable with dribbling, guess what? You just slowed their
yeah, and now that's 15 seconds to try to get a bucket, and you're
exactly now you're scrambling for a shot.
Okay.
So that would be my preference.
Yeah, no, and we're starting to like. I think we lost it for a little bit. Like it used to be pretty popular, I feel like, and then lost it to like a lot of either switching up or even doubling. I think now it's starting to make a little bit of a comeback again, like with especially once we get to the high level play in the playoffs and even March Madness. So yeah, that's good, man. So great. So besides the training, like I mentioned before, talking about just like your career in general, I think what I wanted to start with and what we talked about a little bit already is because a big part of this podcast, like I like talking about the mental aspects of the sports, psychology aspects, and try to cover in all sports really. Even though it's very, very easy to talk about hoops the whole entire time.
I know.
So just for the overall athlete foundation, and this has been mentioned before in this, but I like hearing different perspectives. And you have a personal connection to this too. Going out of high school and into college, you mentioned obviously BU gave you an opportunity, and really other than that, I think you mentioned for you like it wasn't what you expected.
Yeah.
Because when you're a good player, you know your level, you know your worth, and it's frustrating when you don't have those proper looks, especially like there's cockiness and there's confidence. Like you're a confident player because you put that work in.
Right.
How did you? I know it's a little bit ago now, but like just thinking about like how did you go about that? How the work keeps showing, and like with that opportunity you had at BU, just like for a frustrated athlete out there right now that did not get the looks that they want.
Yeah.
Gotta make do with what they got. Like what do you done?
So based off my experience, the one thing that I learned a lot was, what never steered me wrong is like my love for the game, right? So like I knew I was getting better. I knew I was here for the right reason. I knew I was in the room with people that that had the same ambitions, but I look back on it and I was like, I wasn't even supposed to be at this level. There was a lot of doubt. I never had that doubt. and I carried that with me. Going to the gym, and I was never a person that went out, just wasn't a part of that crowd. Even in college, like, my guys, we wanted to get in the gym and work hard. And I was one of those. I was always the one that was like, okay, I got to lead. I got to figure out how to be a leader, right? Didn't matter who was in the room. I got to figure out how to make this team win. Because there's no greater feeling than winning, right? For the majority of my life, I was in a kind of winning culture. And when you are in a winning culture, there is no greater feeling than being part of that. Guys are happy. Your game is to going to the next level. There's no dream you can't attain. Everything just becomes like an opportunity. And so, when I was there mentally, I was just like, okay, had a bad game. How do I bounce back from it? Right. And the thing I learned is, like, you got to be patient. Right. And I tell all the next generation, like, sometimes that's not your moment. Right.
Yeah.
Your moment is coming. Like, but you got to still put the work in. Right. Because I've seen guys not play basketball in high school, come to college and be a superstar.
Yeah.
I've seen guys have very mid careers in college, make it to the league, still in the league. You know what I'm saying? So, like, your drive, commitment, the work you put in, the results are going to show,
Yeah.
right? There are going to be times where you're frustrated and you're not playing well. You're not, I don't know, you're not enjoying the game as much. Because there was a time where I was just like, I was at BU, I was losing a lot. I was like, this is ridiculous. I don't know. I've never been a part of it. It's hard. It's hard to get out of. So, I think the biggest thing is, like, head down, just keep grinding, results will come, and that's what I stick by.
Yeah, no, and that's the way to do it. And even the other way around too. When that moment does hit you, and you make the most of that moment, you still got to work the next day.
Exactly.
The
Gotta
other
show
way
up.
around
Just show up.
Yeah. No matter what, the highs and lows, obviously, like, you guys show up no matter what. Is there? I guess, is there a certain time? It's an interesting way to word this, but when that level that you want to play at least is not reached, the team you're a part of, like the program, the organization that gave you a chance, that wants you, after a while, like, is there? It's not like settling. I'm not trying to get at, but, like, is there a time where when you need to look at anything with your athletic career and just realize the grass might not be greener elsewhere, and
Yeah.
I should really just dig deep and stick it out here, because, like, I think, and I don't want to get into talking about the portal or anything, but I feel like with these young, like, they're 18, 19 years old, like, they have no clue. And once you do well for 1 year at a place that wanted you, that fits you the best,
Yep.
and there's any level, it's not just at the big times.
Right.
What's your take on just, how do I know when I should just hold it down here and the grass is not greener, compared to, I am going to take a jump in level. This could be great, but at the same time,
right.
Chance.
I think the best way to look at opportunities like that is to see, first prospectively, like, what's your goal? Like, what are you trying to attain? Are you trying to be a winner? Are you trying to get to the next level? Do you have chemistry with guys? Do you have good role models, like your coaches and people that could put you in a position to get you to the next level, right? So, like, all these things kind of need to be assessed. And I think when you start to overanalyze, and obviously in today's world, there's a lot of money driven things that are playing a role now, non-existent in not necessarily non-existent, but not on the front line as much. And when you start to take those all into consideration and, like, evaluate what your goal is, then that's the call, right? It's not necessarily about the grass being greener. It's about, okay, well, I'm at a school where I just lost all my seniors, and I have an opportunity to go somewhere where at a much bigger program where I'm actually going to play. Okay, cool. That's an opportunity. That's your call, right? Instead of building off of you, right? So, like, there's so many situations that players are in today's world, and I think they just need to assess, like, what their goal is, and what are the tools that are going to help them get there.
Yeah, and like I'm starting to think about too. Once you mentioned the money, that quarterback, I don't know if you saw, but that quarterback on South Carolina, you know, like,
Oh my
especially college
gosh.
football now. I mean, money is just getting tossed around.
Yeah, I mean, this should have been happening years ago, but
No, and great for the athletes, man. Like
yeah.
I'm very excited for. Like I remember, what was it? I think it was like it was the earlier UConn run. I believe it was Shabazz Napier,
Oh, okay.
one of the guards that like led them to like Final Four championships. And I remember he talked about like being straight up about it. He's like, I'm getting the most fame of my life. I'm leading my team to a Final Four, and I'm broke. And I'm like, I'm struggling still to even like, because like UConn can't like hand the money to be fed. It's
Right. Yep.
like it's on the room board, whatever. And I remember him saying, I'm like, man, like these, these athletes got it. So like
Yeah.
now that it's the other way around, like there's a serious amount of money getting tossed around for you playing at a high level. When is it kind of saying, all right, enough's enough? Where I got to realize I'm still in a good situation and turning down 8 mil, especially with your
Yeah.
pops telling you too. It's like, wow, like that takes of a lot of guts.
Yeah, and I can't knock anybody, right? Because like I think LeBron turned down a big deal coming out of high school. Like you got to know your worth and you got to bet on yourself. So I'm a person that 100%, like if you have that level of confidence, if you have that level of drive and your work ethic matches, then by all means reach for as much as you can, because at the end of the day, no one knows how much determination and much like how much time you're willing to put in to attain a certain level of
Right, so
greatness.
you go do it. Yeah. Okay.
So at the end of the day, kudos to those people who are getting those offers. People can't be salty. It sucks, but that's sports. Like you can't have your hand in other people's pockets. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Just be proud. Just be happy for those that put in the work, and like I said, results will come. You put in the work, results come.
Yeah, absolutely. And with those results and like getting to the next level of play,
Hmm.
this happened to you. This happens to a lot of athletes that do take that next leap and jump, and it can happen at any point of their careers. What are two? Let's just go with two for now. What are two characteristics, not as just like physically playing, but mentally, do you think are the most important? So, like for example, you talked about leadership, like that. Like what are two things just as you as a person, if you're going to take a big leap in that next jump,
Yep.
it needs to improve. What do you
Right. So yeah, I think confidence is the biggest thing in anything in this world. You
what's
gotta
your
have,
definition of confidence?
huh?
What's your definition of confidence?
Confidence is something um, that you feel comfortable with by just putting in, and it comes with experience, comes with repetition, and you're able to attain a different level of height, right? And that could be from achieving success. That can be from, creating music or singing or being in a room and, speaking in front of 1,000 people, right? You just have to prepare for a certain level of success, right? For an output. Confidence is always going to be my number one because confidence flows like a roller coaster,
Yeah, and I
right?
think that's like almost like a combo word is like preparedness and confidence. Like those are, they're not the same thing, but at the same time, like when you say preparedness, you say confidence. When you say confidence, preparedness. So yeah,
Right,
I
right.
really agree.
Those are damn near interconnected. And then my next thing would just be communication.
Okay.
I think the next level, you got to figure out how to communicate, right? To be a leader, you got to figure out how to communicate. How do I communicate to my coach? How do I talk to my guys? How do I talk to the refs? How do I talk to my peers? You walk in confidence, and your communication is, it just complements it. So, one of the things I've learned is like being able to, I'm confident on the court, but I get, competitive players, they get frustrated.
Yeah.
How do I communicate in a way that uplifts my player and gets him excited for the next possession? Or how do I communicate to my coach that I have the confidence to take that last shot, right? But also not being cocky or like I'm that guy. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
No, it's
so
a complete difference.
I think, and that's the thing, right? A lot of players, They just have this quiet killer mentality. That's great. But at the next level, communication is going to be so important.
Yeah, yeah. Even the dudes that didn't talk at all and went to go kill, like Kawhi Leonard, for example. He's still communicating though, even if he's not the loudest dude.
No, he's not. But I
He
mean, we
figured out
only
a way to
see.
communicate.
Yeah, I mean, we only see what's on TV though.
There could be a whole lot more, and no
Nah.
one knows it. No one knows it. So yeah, confidence, communication. That's a great one, man. Yeah, I got two more quick ones for you. So one, I keep thinking about this now. I'm thinking about the title of the episode and everything. Give me some examples. And this is another thing of like taking you as an individual to the next level. Give me some examples that are tied together in your life or that you've seen in others when we talk about being good and being great. What's like what's something that you can, I guess, work on or do, and like, all right, this is considered good. Oh, this is great. Like they kind of having a feel for it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm always gonna kind of shout my young boy out, right? Zubair, he went from good to being great,
Okay.
and you know, I got none but love for him and so much praise, right? Because um, we seeing his journey is full circle for me too, right? Being one of my best friends is his uncle, um, and seeing him start with the basketball in his hands and then develop into winning a state title, man, that's damn near impressive. It's so impressive, right? But what separates that, right, is like a person who he picked up the basketball, he was playing with his friends, and like he was training a little bit, but then you get obsessed with the game. It consumes you with passion, and you start to learn from the people around you. Your ego's down. You're soaking in so much about it. You're a competitor. You're figuring out how to get better, right? So like everything counts. Watching film counts. Confidence, right? He's never shied away from not being like he's been confident since he picked up the basketball, right? He stayed aggressive. He figured out how to navigate around, from one school to the next, things like that. Like you have to figure out a plan, and then once a plan is in place, stay with that plan, right? So I always talk about like what's your goal. Like me from the beginning, I had dreams of playing in the NBA. It was a dream, and then I saw me getting at each level, like getting closer and closer. Okay, how do I get there? How do I break past this next hurdle? Right, damn near right under 6 feet. Okay, boom, I'm under 6. What do I gotta do? Gotta play defense. Gotta shoot the ball well. I gotta be a leader. I gotta communicate. These are gonna be separation factors,
Yeah.
right? And once you become the ultimate competitor, it takes your game to the next level. So, sorry, I was kind of like all over the place, but that is what embodies from being just good to being great.
Yeah, no, that's a good example. It's because you can have those intangibles, you can have a couple of pieces fall into place with the goal, but
Mm-hmm.
what happens when a couple of things are thrown at you that you might be taking a step back, and that goal that you have now, all of a sudden you're getting punched in the face a couple of times. Is that when you just be good and you adjust to it accordingly and not
Exactly.
stick with it, or do you keep going and whatever falls into place, you're still at a good
Exactly.
spot?
And
Um,
and just to elaborate a little bit more, like I see so many people that are so interested in going overseas and playing at that next level, and they play basketball, but they're not seeking out ways to get film, to play in a league that's reputable. To there's going to be so much sacrifice. People don't understand the sacrifice behind just trying to get to a professional level. The sacrifice to just get to Division 1 level, like countless hours, the right person, reaching out, email. Like I could have sworn I wrote about, and this is back in the day, right? Like I was writing letters to head coaches at universities when I was in high school. All the schools I wanted to go to, the two schools I wanted to go to were UConn and UNC. So writing head coaches, Calhoun, boom, yo, I'm Jimmy Gray. I'm Binghamton. About what I'm saying. Like that's you gotta put it in. You gotta sacrifice sometimes and figure it out.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's another key buzzword to any success story or any goal that's met. I mean, sacrifice has to be up there. And I'm pretty sure you saw this, but speaking of Zoo, he had a couple comments when I mentioned Jimmy Gray.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys were to play 1-on-1, what's the situation?
Oh, that's coming soon.
Okay.
I'm gonna let him.
Okay.
I'm gonna let him. I'm gonna let him touch
wonder-
that. Listen, I'm gonna let him touch that Division 1 court. Let him get a little feel for himself. Then we gonna,
Let's
we
get
gonna
back.
set something up.
Okay, please let me know. Please let me know
Yeah.
when and where. I'll be there because he's how he is, man. He's the type of dude that's not gonna hesitate. So he's gonna, maybe in the beginning when he's younger, but nah,
Nah, he's ready. He's ready.
ready. Nah, he is. He is.
Listen,
It'll be a
I
good one.
come anytime. Not necessarily called out, but I come prepared. Let's just say that.
Absolutely, man.
But that's my little man. He's
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly,
he's
man.
a great dude. He's a great
That's the fun
dude.
part about the game, man. I love that type of competitiveness.
Yeah.
It's all love, and that's
It's all love.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So yeah, I mean, just wrapping things up, man. My last thing for you is just what's overall just a message for just the game as a whole. Not even talking NBA anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What's one thing you want to get out there that just a message to either other trainers, other coaches, other players that
Yep.
hey, we want because for me personally, I think the international level is taking leaps and bounds, like just from foundation wise to professional now. Like
Yeah.
as just just personally, like for our culture, like where you're at, being in the city and everything, and just like
Yep.
hoops all around the states. Like what's like kind of like a saving message of hey, let's make sure we do this and keep us in a good place.
Yeah. Man, the biggest thing is just everyone just keeps grinding. Collectively, I think the game is in a good place. I think we're just starting to see so many people fall in love with the game.
Yeah.
Not to say that wasn't there, but the love for the game is the spectrum is so wide, and it doesn't matter the background, the gender. It is, you step into an environment and you see it. Everybody has their own connection to it, to a player, to an attachment, to the culture of it. My biggest message is just keep loving the game, and it'll love you back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no matter what happens, man. It might not seem like it loves you at first, but you got to keep sticking with it, man. And it's only a matter of time staying patient. So, but awesome, man. I'm excited. Get the season going. I knew you're the right guy to kick it off with episode 1.
Appreciate you letting me kick it off.
Yeah, no, it was great, man. Good catching up with you. And for anyone looking with training or just want to get some good basketball knowledge in general, give B Great Training a follow, man. Got some good stuff. A guy that knows everything about the game, man. So, episode 1, Jimmy Gray. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Appreciate you too, Brady.